The first thing you need to do to set up registrations for the new season or year is to set up all your products that you're wanting participants to purchase. So this can be done under participation or management mode for leagues and associations, but for clubs it's only under the participation mode. And you click on the registration heading or menu option at the top. Once you do that, you'll see that you have a menu to the left where product management is the second option. You click on this and you'll see the list of current products that you have available. So each year we advise that you create new products for each season and that you make any products you're not using inactive. Because you can see here, when I look at the only products I have that are active, there's only 3 options to choose from. But if I had a whole list of all my products that were active, you can see there's a lot more to choose from, which would create issues if there was a problem with a product. Trying to figure out which one it is can be quite time consuming. Whereas if I just keep the ones that are active, if someone calls me with a problem, I can see that it's going to be one of these 3 that has the issue. So to make a product inactive, like this one here, the 2018 Waverley testing, you just click on the edit button here to the right of the screen, which will bring you to your product. You scroll down to the page to where the active box is ticked. You untick that and then click update. And as you'll see there, that will then, and OK, that will then mean that your product, so if we go back to management screen, that product is now no longer on the front page, it's actually in the inactive products. So we would recommend you make all your products inactive at the start of the year or season, and then you would start to create the new products as you need them. So to create a new membership product, I'm going to click on add member subscription product, which brings me to this page where I can complete the details for the product that I'm wanting to sell. So we would recommend you put the year at the start to make it really obvious to the members what they are purchasing. You can see there I've got various options for testing I've done. So if we put the year at the start, we will do testing junior product, junior club membership. So you can see I've kept it quite simple. It's got the year and it tells you exactly what it is. The category of the product. So this links into the membership form template. So any product that has got a category of membership will appear on the membership template. If I was wanting to add this product onto, say, what the NetSet Go form, so I might have something I want to sell to NetSet Go, then I need to select the categories event, program registration, or course registrations for anything that will appear on the course registration template. For most things, we would recommend just click on the membership. It's the default option. If your product is set up and it's not appearing on the form as you're expecting it to, it's a good chance that you've actually selected the incorrect or the non-corresponding category here. So just double check this before you give your association a call, because it's a really easy fix if that's the case. So the description, I've seen people, clubs that put the years of birth that make you a junior. These dates. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, so I'm just going to put born between these dates just to give you an idea of what it would look like. When you get to the price, so this is the overall price of the product. So you need to take into account that if you're expecting $100 into your club's bank account, you need to charge the member $156 because $56 of that will go to Netball Vic. So this is the total price. So I want $100 in my club account, so I'm going to enter 156, knowing that 56 will go to Netball Vic, so then $100 will go to my club. You do have the option under pricing for advanced pricing, and this is the family discounting section. Now, it's a little misleading in the sense that it's not family as in a family unit, so parents and children. It's family as in a registration type. So if you have a parent who's a senior and they register a junior, there'll be no family discounting, but if they register 3 juniors, there would be discounting based on what you set up here. This is an option that does work. There are several clubs and associations that do use it and like this feature. It's just not as straightforward as you might think, so I would encourage you to just think through it before you decide to set that up. The simple price is always a good way to go, and I have seen some clubs who offer family discounting would set up separate products for that because it will capture the whole family. So it might be, you know, club membership 1 first child, club membership 2nd child or individual, so you can always do it through that method. The class of the product, anything involving a Netball Vic membership will be a membership subscription / registration. But if you were going to sell uniform items, you might select saleable items. So you see the page is refreshed when I clicked on that, and there's a lot less information around the saleable item required. But for anything with Netball Vic memberships, it's the membership subscription registration. So you make sure that's there. The number available, you can leave this blank, or you can put a maximum number of people who can purchase this product. So if you were selling an item, you might only have 10 available. You could put 10 there and only 10 can be sold. Or you could be a club that can only have a certain number of participants because of the size of your court space. So you might want to cap it to that number. If you leave it blank, it'll just be unlimited. Available to and from. So those are the dates which you can set your registrations to open. So you might be setting this up now, but you may not want to start taking registrations until 2019. So you can set the dates that you wanted to open in the available from date. And then if you don't want to have to remember when to stop allowing people to register, you can always set the close date. If you leave these blank, they'll be open and available indefinitely until the register period closes overall at the end of November the following year. So you want to make sure your products are active. You can see the boxes ticked. The sort order, you don't have to put anything here. It relates to the order the product will appear on the form, but you can actually retick that yourself, so you really don't need to put anything in that section. The subscription settings, anything with a Netball Vic membership will be your standard 1st of the 1st to 31st of the 12th. So 1st of the 1st to 31st of the 12th. So we just scroll through all of that, and 31st of the 12th. Now the person role, this is a mandatory field, but it's not as important as it sounds, and it's not the end of the world if you get it wrong. So what this means is anyone who purchases this product will be tagged in your database with this role. So if a junior is purchasing this, they will be a player junior, because that's what I'm going to set it to. If an umpire purchased this and they get the role player junior, from Netball Vic's point of view, a junior membership is a junior membership. We don't actually see whether they're a junior membership who umpires or a junior membership who plays. So from our point of view, that's fine. It's just how they're tagged in your database. So if you get it wrong, it's not the end of the world. There are ways that you as a club or an association administrator can fix it. So don't panic, but you want to try and make it as accurate as possible because it'll help you in the long run with your participant management. So I selected player junior here. Now we get to the registration settings. So this is the most, to me, I would say this is the most important part of setting up your product, and it is not a mandatory field. So what happens if you do not select anything here? The system will take my money as a participant. I will pay my $156 and I will get nothing for it. There will be no registration record against my name. I will just be out of pocket $156. So what you need to do is make sure that you set this up and so here you will select your association that's above you. So if you're a club that has 2 parent associations, so you might sit under, say, Parkville and Essendon and District Netball Association, they will both appear in this drop-down list, and you need to set up a set of products to register the participant to your club under Parkville, and then a second product to register them to your club under Essendon and District. So you might have players that play at both, you might have players that only play at the one, so you need to set up registration products for both. So in this instance, I'm just going to select the Test Netball Victoria, because that's my test association. You can see the page is refreshed. If I scroll back down to the registration settings, you can see that it's defaulted to 2019, which is why I said I would recommend that when you roll the reg or open the registration period for your clubs, that the associations and leagues set it as default, because you can see it just eliminates the human error element when you're rushing to set this up. If it accidentally defaulted to 2018, you might set up a product for 2018, not 2019, and then people will purchase it thinking they're buying 2019 registrations, and you can have all sorts of issues having to deal with the refunding side of that. Once you've checked that the reg period is 2019, you then need to select the registration type, because this is what you're telling the system where the money needs to go. So we're setting up a junior product, so I'm going to select junior, and you can see the page is refreshed, and we've now got this amounts payable for the selected registration type available. So this is where you can do a double check and work out exactly what's going into your bank account. So you can see here that I must charge $56, because $56 will come out of the total cost the member is paying, and I want $100 into my club's bank account. So I need to account for that in my total price. So you can see it's a good chance to just double check that. And then just under the double lines in the amounts payable section, you will see this statement here. So It says allow product pricing to be discounted if the participant qualifies for a registration discount. So this is a complicated way to say discount the second Netball Vic membership. So you need to make sure that this is ticked for all registrations, because it means that the Netball Vic membership will not be charged to them again. So if I've already registered somewhere else, so say I've registered at Parkville and I'm coming in to purchase a membership at your club and I've already got a Netball Vic membership, I will just pay you the club fees, but I will still get a registration to you. So if members are calling you and they're saying, I'm being charged for a second Netball Vic membership, one of two things has happened. One, they may have created a new account, so they're not logging in with the account that they purchased the initial membership on, or two, this box is unticked. So you need to make sure this is ticked, and if people are calling you with an issue, double check that it is ticked, and if it is and they're still being charged, then it could be that they've created a second account, or you need to give us a call because there's something wrong with the system. So you can see there, you want to make sure that's ticked, and then we scroll back down to the page, to the bottom of the page. So this is where we get into the discounting section. So keeping in mind that the discounting is discounting off your club fees, not the Netball Vic membership. The Netball Vic membership will always be $76 or $56, depending on which one you purchase. The discount is off your club fees. So general discount, it does work. I don't really know why you would use this. If you were going to give them a general discount of $10, why not just charge $10 less in the first instance? But it does work. You just enter the total amount and then you can put a description. I have not actually figured out where this description actually appears on the form, but you can write text there if you want. But the other discounting option you've got is an early bird, what we call an early bird discount. So you might give everyone $10 off if they pay by a set date. So you write the total amount off here, so $10, and then you can set the date at which people have to pay before to get that discount. So you can see here, $10 by the 30th of November. So once you've set that, this function, the early bird discount does work, and I know a lot of clubs and associations really like that feature. So you can see here, if we set it up like that, we then click update, OK, and our product is saved. Now at this point, I would double check, I would scroll down and double check that my product is set up the way I think it is, just to make sure that everything is how I want it and I haven't accidentally ticked on something or clicked and moved something beyond what I wanted to. So I double check the costs. I'm getting $100, $56 is going somewhere else. The discount second Netball Vic membership option is ticked, so that's fine. And then I make sure that my subscription or registration settings are set the way I want them to be. So you scroll down and check all of that. If you don't change anything, you can click update if you want. Otherwise, just scroll back to the top and go back to your management screen. And you'll see here the 2019 product, which is the one, the junior testing is the one we just set up. So you can see that at the top. So you can see I've now got 3 products available for 2019, my senior, my junior, and a hoodie. So you can see they're there. So once you've set up all your products, you then want to update your registration form for the new registration period. So clicking on sign up form management to the left will bring you to the page where your sign up forms can be found. So while we recommend that you create new products each year, we would recommend that you roll your registration form over into the new year. And this is partly because if you put the link up on your website or Facebook or any of those other platforms that you might have shared it on, by rolling it over into 2019, it will actually be active on those locations. So you don't have to send it out quite as far for this year as you did last year. And it also means that you don't end up with a bunch of active forms, because if you've got more than one active form, then people can find those forms through their My Netball profiles, and they might accidentally click on it and purchase things through that form that you don't want them to. So you can see here, if I click on include inactive forms, through all the testing I've done, I've got quite a lot of active forms. So you can imagine if all these forms were listed on my Netball profile, it'd be quite confusing for people to try and make sure they get the right one. Whereas if you just have the single form active or let fewer forms active, then they only have 3 to choose from. And if you've named them clearly, it should help people find the right one to purchase. So I'm just going to show you how you would create a new registration form just to show you the process. But if you were going to edit it and roll it into the new year, you would just click on this edit pencil and it would bump you in to one step beyond where we're going. So if we click on add new registration form, you can see here this is where you select the template. So remember I was saying the category of your product will determine the template that the product appears on. So we had a membership category product, so that means the product will appear on the membership sign up template. If we selected course registration category, it would appear on the course registration template. So it defaults to membership, so pretty much all the stuff you'll do will be around the membership space. So you select that and click refresh. And this is where you would come in if you were editing your form and rolling it into the new year. So instead of entering new details for the first time, you would actually just roll it over and update each section as you go through. So if we just go through all of this, updating it, so I'm going to call it 2019 testing club, I'll call it registration. So we would recommend you put the year at the start of this just to make it really clear what the products are. So you might have 2018 registrations available at the same time. So you put 2018/2019. If you were just selling uniform items, you might want to have name the form, you know, Test Club 1 uniform form, those kinds of things. The welcome description at the top of the page, you can put whatever you want here. I'm just going to put Go Vixens just so you can see what the text where it will appear. But you can see here there's many options. And if you've ever seen the NetSet Go form, they have a logo for the NetSet Go program. So you can put pretty much anything you want here. So have a play around with it. You just need to click update once you're done. Status, active versus inactive. If the form is active, people can find it and purchase things on it. So if you're not ready for them to start buying things, I'd probably recommend make it inactive until you're ready for them to find it. Sort order, it defaults to 8. You really don't need to worry about it because, again, you can just work around what it has. The disclaimer is a global disclaimer, so it's the Netball Australia terms and conditions. You cannot edit that. Entity disclaimer, you as a club can actually add your own disclaimer, or association and league can add your own disclaimer. So you can see here I've got several to choose from, but I can only add one per form, and they have to tick that they've read and approved and agree to the terms in it. So you can select one. You can see there, and that means that the participants have to tick that they've read and approved or agree to the terms. So examples of how that might be used, it could be a photo consent form, that they agree to the club code of conduct, terms, codes of behaviour, those kinds of things. The contact name, this will be the person who first created this form. So if you're rolling your form over from season to season, the person here might need to be updated because Judy Nash may no longer be part of Test Club 1. So you need to make sure this is up to date because this is where it directs you to contact people if you're having problems. And if it's contacting someone who's not part of the club, that's where you might end up losing that participant because they just get frustrated and can't register. So then we scroll down into payment settings. So here you'll see this is where you select your gateway. So most of you by now will know what split payments is and that we've been trying to put you onto the split payment setup. So the MPS disbursement gateway is the one you want to select. If you are not sure if you have transitioned onto split payments, you need to call your association or league and get them to check, or you can check it yourself. I can show you that at the end just to double check, but please do not select this unless you are sure you are on you've put your bank details into My Netball, because otherwise this will actually hold up the disbursement for the entire country. Then we get to the allow offline payments. So we would recommend that you do not allow offline payments because it's the point of the split payments and this MPS disbursement gateway is the invoicing will no longer be needed. If you start allowing offline payments, invoices will then start to have to be generated again. So we really strongly do not recommend that you allow it. And then you've also got this option here, allow part payment, which is new. Netball Australia put that in place. It's sort of set up to help people with who are in the need of payment plans. But I would really encourage you to have a read of the document I prepared called Part Payments and just make sure that you fully understand what allowing part payments means for you as an organisation, because you actually have very little control over the part payments. So if I ticked this, me as a participant, I have the option whether I pay 2, 3 or 4 instalments depending on the total cost of the product. You as a club don't get to say how often I pay. And it's a monthly payment. So it will come out of my credit card on the 15th of each month following the first instalment, which will cover the Netball Vic membership. So it is an option that works, but I would just say have a thorough read of the document I prepared. It's in the resource library called Part Payments, and just make sure that you really understand what it will mean for your organisation, because it could actually make you have to do more administration in the long run. So just make sure you understand that. So then you get to the processing fee. So all your online transactions, you need to add the processing fee. So you tick apply to online payments, and then it's 0.31 and 1.78. So that means that for every transaction, there's a 31-cent fixed charge and a 1.78 variable charge on the transaction. So for a $73 membership, so 2018 prices, it'd be roughly $74 something. So those, you need to add those processing fees to all your transactions. I'm going to remove them for this just because I'm not doing online payments. When I complete this process, I just want to show you what I'm doing. So because actually no, I'll put them back on because it's easier. So I'll leave them on 0.31, 1.78. So you need to make sure they are at those values. The rest of this, offline description, currency format, tax description, and tax rate, you do not need to play with these. I would recommend don't play with them because it can cause issues if you do. Then we get down into form fields. So here you'll see that there's the personnel fields, which it looks like a lot of information, but these are what form the basis of my Netball profile. So I don't have to answer these every time. It's just something I answer on the first instance that I create my account. So you can add things. You might want to make the school that they attend an option, so you tick that, and you can make it mandatory or not mandatory. It's up to you. And then we scroll down into this other fields. So you'll see here on the selected fields, these are all the questions that Netball Australia use around inclusion. So again, you answer them once as part of your My Netball profile, and they will automatically populate when you log into that account again. But you as a club can actually add your own custom questions if you wanted to. So you can see here, I've got a question, do you like chocolate? So I might want to know, does everybody in my club like chocolate? And I can make it a mandatory question if I want to. And then if you type into this category name, you can put things like, I'm going to type food preference, which will give it a heading. So you'll see that come up. So that you do not need to put anything in the display name. That will alter the question. What the participant will see is, do you like chocolate? That's the question. But the group name you might want to call food preferences, for example. So we'll do that. So anything that's in this box here, selected fields, will appear on the form. Anything that's in the available fields box will not appear on the form. But you can move things back and forth except for these locked fields as much as you want. You can have as many or as few custom questions as you want. It is completely up to you. So then we scroll down to the registration type products. So here you'll see there's the two products I set up for 2019. So I've got my senior and my junior. Anything in the box on the left will not appear on the form. Anything in the box to the right will appear on the form. So you can add and remove things as you need to by just double clicking on them. So you can see that, and I can change the order of them by moving them around. So I'm going to leave the two products on here so you can see what that looks like. And then if you scroll down, you can see any saleable items you might have set up. Same thing, if it's in the box on the left, it's not on the form. If it's in the box on the right, it will be on the form. So just keep in mind, if you are going to sell uniform items, if you're not selling them at the time of registration, so if you're selling your new dresses at the start of the year, putting it on your registration form is a good option. But if you've got uniforms that come through halfway through the seasons when people are already registered, we would actually recommend you create a separate form and just have your saleable items on that. And the reason for that is, at the moment, you cannot purchase a saleable item without purchasing a membership. So if I've paid my membership to the club at the start of the season, I'm then going to have to register a second time, which I may not pay for, but it just starts to make your database look a little messy if you've got people registering 2, 3, 4 times to the same club, but it's only because they wanted to buy a hoodie. So you can see here you've got the 3 products. You scroll down, the advanced behaviour settings. So the syndication options, these are not relevant if you are a club doing this. If you are an association or league, most of you would tick syndicate to affiliated clubs, and that's what gives you the drop-down list at the top where the participants can pick their clubs from the drop-down list. And then you've got the behaviour options. So we would recommend that you leave it the way it is now. So you can see that the only 2 that are ticked are create logins for new registrants, and omit pay by credit card information from offline payment form. Those are the two we would recommend you have ticked. Manually approve all new registrants. We would recommend you don't tick this, as a lot of people do tick it thinking it means that they get to approve people registering to their club, which it doesn't, and then they forget to actually go and approve them and they can't find the people in their database. So all that means is that if I'm new to this club and I register, I still pay my money, I still get a registration, but the club cannot see my record or add me to any team sheets until they've approved me coming into the database. And that's where it gets problematic, because people will tick this and forget that they have to actually go and approve people. So we would recommend that you do not have this option ticked. The display split payment information if possible. We would probably recommend you don't include this, just because I don't know that the participants really need to understand where the money is going. They just need to know what they're paying for. So it includes the netball big membership. The actual breakdown of it might actually create more problems for you than it solves. So carefully consider whether you want to include that. Allow sign-ups on behalf of family members. So this really doesn't matter if you tick it or not, because if the accounts are linked, I can register people who are linked to me anyway. So ticking this really won't change anything. And allow no team preference. That's only really relevant if you have teams. So we would just recommend these two options here are ticked. And once you've done that, you click save and then OK. And you'll see it has successfully saved. And then if we just double check everything again, so you make sure you've got all of that set the way you want. So making sure you've got the NPS disbursement gateway and making sure that you've got the you apply the fees to this, so you can see it here. And so then you can go back to the management screen, and that form you've created or updated will be in the front screen. So remembering that we would recommend you try to keep the number of forms you've got to a minimum, because people can see the forms that you've got. So the less options they've got to choose from, the less chance there is that the human error element will come into it and they will select the wrong one. So once you've done that, just to give you a quick, so you might have set this up and put it on the NPS gateway, and then you need to double check if you have put your bank details in. So just to quickly show you that, this is where you would go. So I've set up my registration form and I just need to double check that my bank details are on file in my Netball and that they're correct. You can see payments and gateways here to the left. So you click on that, gives you a little drop down list, and bank account details is the bottom option. And you click on that and that will show you what your bank details are on file. So if there is nothing listed here, then you need to enter that before someone purchases a membership, because no money will go into your account otherwise. So once this is updated and you've had one successful transaction, this will actually lock down and you cannot change it. It will be, you will then need to lodge a ticket if you need to update your bank details, which is quite easy to do. Most of you have probably done that before. So that's just making sure a club, league or association is on split payments, so that money can go where it is needed and you can proceed with your registrations as necessary. So as you can see there, I've entered nothing into this test club. So that's pretty much it for setting up your online registrations. Once you've done that, you then just need to communicate to your members that they can register through your form. So there's sort of two ways that you can, well, several ways they can access it. So if you see the sign up form management, if we just go back into that now, you'll see that if we go into, so I'm just going to use one of the other forms I set up because they're offline. So if we just click on the edit button again, so this set one of the previous forms I set up, so 2019, we click on the pencil and we scroll all the way down to the bottom. You'll see that you've got your sharing options here. So this is the link, the public link is the link you can copy and post in an email or on any of your websites if you want to, but you've also got your social media options. So there's Facebook, Twitter, Google Bookmarks, LinkedIn, or you can email people. So those are your social media sharing options. The other option you actually have in terms of getting people to register is that they can go to their My Netball profile. So if we go here and I log into my Netball profile, so I'm going to my.netball.com.au. So then if I log into my test account, so logging into my test account, if I then go to the top and make sure that I have the club in question here, so I can go through the desktop version of my Netball profile as long as I've been linked to this club before. So if I'm trying to register to a club I've never been a part of, this method won't work. but because I've been part of Test Club 1, you can see here I can click on it. It'll refresh my profile, and if I scroll to the bottom, you can see here these are the 4 forms we have active for Test Club 1. So if I go, and I'll just quickly go back to the administration side of it, I'm going to go back and just show you here. So I'm just going to click on this. So see here in the sign up form management, when it loads, you'll see that I've got 4 forms. When you look at my Netball profile, there's 4 forms. So that's why we recommend you try and keep this as clean as possible. So the less forms you have here, the better. So if I was going to sell my registrations, so I'd have a registration form, there might be a uniform form, there could be 2 seasons. So just try and keep it as clean as possible. If the participant is new to your club, so they've never registered before, I would actually recommend that they use the My Netball app. So that when they can search in the My Netball app. I can't show you on this computer, but they can search for your organisation in the My Netball app, and they can access the forms through that, which is an easy way to get them access to it, particularly if they're standing on the sidelines waiting to go on the court. Having them being able to access it straight away is pretty helpful. So those are sort of your options around sharing it. This is all covered in the resources I have on my resource library. So just to show you here where the resources are. So on the vic.netball.com.au website, there's the member services heading, and you'll see there's a My Netball page. And that's where all the My Netball resources that we have are. And you'll see halfway down the page is the resource library. So all the resources we have are uploaded here. So you can see product management goes over how to set up your products, which we covered for the first thing we did, and sign up form management, which goes over how to create and manage your sign up forms. There's also shows you how to distribute your sign up forms to your members, and there's one that goes over disclaimers. So that's pretty much it for how to set up your online registrations. Once you send that out to your members, they can start to purchase their memberships.